Welcome back to Tucked In Wizards, guys. As always, I'm Aidan, and I'm here with Ben.
Welcome back, guys. We're at the end of the season, the end of 2024-25, and the Wizards have won more games than last year, so,
Yes, sir.
pretty good. Why don't you tell them what we're doing today?
So today we're going to be doing awards voting for both the Wizards specifically and the league. So we're going to do the classic MVP, Rookie of the Year, MIP, Sixth Man of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year. We're going to do a special Acquisition of the Year for specifically the Wizards, and Defensive Player of the Year. That's both for the Wizards and the rest of the league.
Yep.
Excited to get to it.
Yeah, I mean, we could just start it. Obviously, all of you guys are Wizards fans. It hasn't been a good year on, the face of it. They only won 17 games, obviously not a good year. But if you look closely and you were watching games, there has been some really good development out of the young players.
And I think there's a noticeable improvement on the court since All-Star break as well. They've definitely gotten better. If you compare, November to now, it's very, very different.
Yeah, and obviously there's some trades that they made that helped that happen. Including
getting rid of
Kuzma for Middleton, which just seems like a complete steal at this point.
I don't know why Milwaukee did that.
Yeah.
And AJ Johnson, who's also very good.
It is funny going through different teams like Twitter and Reddit, and you see Suns fans crashing out about Beal and then Bucks fans crashing out about Kuzma. It's just man.
I will say I don't know if everybody saw the clip. There's a clip going around.
I'll play it up on the video.
Yeah. Stick it in here, but it's him guarding Steph, and then he starts celebrating after Steph
It's so
shot.
good.
And Suns fans have been so mad about that clip. They just can't stand it.
It's one of the funniest clips I've seen this year, along with the ref guarding Ace Bailey. Which, if you haven't seen
that one's really funny.
That was
too.
also amazing.
That one's hilarious.
But let's get into these awards. So I'll start with my Wizards MVP, and there's a couple of options here. I think with a team like the Wizards that was really bad, you'll always get a couple of options. If we were a Knicks channel or something, you'd be like, oh, it's Brunson or Cat. Or if we were a Bucks channel, it'd be like, it's Giannis. I have Jordan Poole. I think his improvement has been amazing from last year to this year, and he's kind of been the leader of the team. He's hit a couple of game winners as well, including one in Denver. I'll just read his stats since I have it here. 20 points, about 4.5 assists, 3 rebounds, 1.3 steals on 43% shooting and 37% from 3, which is, again, so much better than last year. And honestly, the Wizards just don't have that many good players. So having a guy like Poole wins the MVP for me for this team.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of funny to compare because I have a feeling a lot of our lists are going to be similar just because there's not very many players you could stick in for any one of these.
Yeah.
There's really, for the Wizards, one player who's a great defender, one player who's, carrying everybody. But I just think Jordan Poole deserves this award. Obviously, I'm giving it to him because of his consistency. That's something that was lacking last year. You'd have a really, really crazy game, and then you'd have a 8-point game. And while he still does have some stinkers, it's you can expect pretty good playmaking. You can expect some weird shots at times, but pretty consistently, good efficiency. And I think that's been a big key for his next step forward. It's just getting to that consistency with what he can do. And now he can build on that to learn new skills and moves and everything.
Yeah, and I think just also, like I touched on before, just being the leader. I mean, he is only 25 years old, which is kind of crazy, but he is the leader of this team. I mean, he's older than most of the players. He just has more NBA experience than most of the players on his team, outside of obviously the guys they brought in Smart and Middleton. Yeah, he's a champion. So taking on that role, kind of accepting this fight through the rebuild, and he's been really, really good this year, which I did expect it. I think people were overreacting on his year last year because players, they usually take at least a year to adjust. You see it all the time in baseball. So just to have this bounce back year that he's had has been really fun to watch throughout the season, and you could always count on his nice little heat checks after making a layup.
Always fun.
It's always fun to watch.
I think he has a lot of improvement ahead of him, and he's a hard worker. He has the right mentality. I've been very impressed with all the Wizards players, but specifically him and Bub. Their long-term approach has been really refreshing, where they're we're not going to be good for now, we're not going to be good next year, that's okay. We're looking towards the future for what we can be.
Exactly. And speaking of Bub, crazy stat that I saw brought up, he might be the 5th player in Wizards history to play all 82 games, which seems
Yep.
crazy to me. I cannot believe there's only been 5.
No, it is really crazy, especially like there were eras where people just played way more
all the
games.
time. Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Yeah, the fact that there's only been 4 others is really insane.
Yeah, and the Wizards, they've always had some injury issues with the Wall-Bill era, so I guess it's not surprised that neither of those guys got it. Otto Porter's been injured. Obviously the bigs rarely do it, so...
Yeah, not too surprising. It's just, I would expect a little more than 4.
At 5, yeah.
And it's not just because the Wizards are bad. That's like not a bad stat, that's not like, oh, it's because we're bad they don't play that many games. They're just, we must have had a ton of injury prone guys, or I don't really know.
Yeah.
Rested guys a lot. It's kind of interesting.
Never forgive
them. It is
them.
kind of rare. Like, Mikal Bridges is one of the only players that consistently gets to there, because like it's easy to miss a game or two with some ticky-tacky injury.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Whatever.
I'm actually curious.
Even
I'm going to
just
look up. And you could talk about the Rookie of the Year. I just want to see how many players are in line.
I figured it'd be good to switch off for the Wizards because it's going to be a lot of the same guys. So let's us kind of give our reasoning first. But yeah, I'll just, it's the obvious. Rookie of the Year is going to be Sar for me. I think there is an argument for Bub, but to me, Sar's just been better consistently all year. He's taken that, we talk about it all the time, the offensive growth, we didn't really expect to see this early, the defensive prowess. The only thing that I can say that knocking his defensive ability is he's still a little too skinny to be a great rim protector. Can't body the big guys, can't really deal with the small guys even. But that's just something that comes with age and experience and getting in the weight room. So that's something that can change. I'm not too concerned about that. His help defense is great. That's arguably his biggest strength. He can guard the perimeter. And it's just like, he's the best rookie. He was the highest pick. So all's going according to plan. He should be the best one. He is the best one.
Yeah, I have Sar as well. It's pretty amazing that for a guy who I get it, he plays a lot of minutes, he plays for the Wizards, but it's not like a lot of these other guys aren't playing a lot of minutes.
Mm-mm.
But for a guy who came in not as an offensive player, he's second in the league for rookies in scoring. Which, again, you could say, oh, it's a weak class, whatever. This guy had, we all watched Summer League. This dude had no offensive bag at all. So to get up to 13 points a game is very impressive for him. And the other stats, he's 2 assists, which is honestly decent for a big man. 6 rebounds, obviously that needs to go up, and then 1.5 blocks, which I believe put him in the top 20 for blocks per game. 40% from the field, obviously not great for a center, and then 31% from 3, which again went up. If you're comparing him from the beginning of the season to now, the improvement was amazing. And I think the only reason he's not, we both are going to share this when we look at the Rookie of the Year. We both think that obviously he should be in the conversation, if not winning. And I think the beginning of the season really hurt his chances. It seemed like it was decided at the All-Star break, unfortunately, for him. But
I just think people don't pay attention to the Wizards. I'm seeing Risa Shea talk about it, and I'm like, just because he had a couple good games. I'm like, Sar's been doing that for months.
Yeah.
Nobody's really talking about it. But I think it does hurt him that there are pretty clear weaknesses in his game, and he's playing such high minutes on a bad team.
And he looks a little
I saw an interesting comparison. Castle, he's having an okay season. He's having a good season for sure. I shouldn't say okay. He's having a good season. But it's statistically not that much different than the Scoot Henderson first year. It's not a breakout insane season. It's just good. A good rookie season. And he's getting a lot of eyes because he's getting a million minutes on the Spurs team and all the shots.
And he's playing with Wemby. He gets a lot of...
Yeah, exactly. And the Spurs just naturally draw more eyes than the Wizards. So that's just how it goes. They're all popularity awards. It's kind of stupid. It's MIP might be going to Cade this year.
But that's why you come here for real authentic takes.
Exactly. I'm not giving MIP to Cade. I'll tell you that. But I think Sar definitely deserves to be in the conversation. He's been a little disrespected. I've seen people, ESPN put him 6, which is absolutely insane, under people like Edie and Klingon, who he's just already better than, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes when you play for the Wizards.
Yeah, he plays for the Wizards. He doesn't look the smoothest when you're watching him. He doesn't necessarily pass the eye test.
I don't know. He has a really good I think
it's
too.
It's a weird thing. He doesn't look fluid, but then it works. So it's
there are moments
awkward.
when he's in transition, I'll say he looks really fluid, and when he's I think it's a lot of hesitancy from him on offense, where it's kind of a lot of that herky-jerky movement's getting eliminated because he knows where he wants to go before he needs to go there. Oh shit, my camera just fell over. But once he gets more reps in practice, I think it'll look smoother, I think.
Yeah.
And it already is towards the end of the season, versus the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's our rookie of the year for the Wizards. We both said Sar, right?
Yep.
I think we did. Yeah,
Sar.
it's good. One of the rare.
The same one for the Knicks.
This is kind of a dumb award to do for one team because there's usually like 1 or 2 guys, but this year the Wizards had 4 guys. So.
Yeah. And honestly, like I said, Bub was kind of. Like I could see Bub being up there.
Yeah,
honestly. I could see.
Honestly, all 4 of them.
I could see Keyshawn
really
being
good
up there.
years.
Yeah, or AJ. Yeah.
For where they were drafted. I'll go to MIP next. I have Justin Champagnie here. Obviously, there's a couple other players you could put. You could even put Jordan Poole if you wanted. Again, his last year was really bad, but I put Justin Champagnie. I mean, this guy went from a guy that was not getting any play time. I'm not going to say on his way out of the league, but definitely a two-way guy, G League and NBA too. Pretty solidly, he's going to be a rotation piece on an NBA team, hopefully the Wizards, for at least the next couple of years. And he's a guy that passes the eye test. Like, he hits clutch shots. He's in the right place at the right time. And he's only averaging 8 points, but, I mean, you can tell he just does way more. He plays defense. He's definitely a guy that, like, and he's only 23. So he's definitely a guy that the Wizards should hope to keep as a future role player when they're competitive, I hope. Because he just has good instincts.
Yeah. I think he's, at the very least, going to be a good trade piece for us. So it's like, we're going to get value out of him either way. I also had Justin Champagnie. It's tough not to put him because, I mean, just converting into a full contract during the season is really cool, and like the story is really cool. The opportunities he's taken advantage of.
Who are even the other contestants? Like, yeah, Jordan
for
Poole.
MIP, probably Poole, and that's kind of it. Kispert's had kind of a weird year.
Yeah, you could put Vuk. Yeah, I was thinking
played enough. I don't know. I think it's pretty clearly
Jared Butler, maybe,
from his growth from last year to this year. I mean, Jared Butler's not even on the team.
Yeah, I know. I have a guy not on the team for 6 man, but
oh shit! I made sure there's a guy on the team. On that note, I mean, there's not much to say about Champagnie. It's kind of the obvious pick, I think.
Yeah.
On that note, I will go to my 6 man of the year. Gonna be different because my 6 man of the year is on the team. I put Keyshawn George. He started for like 10 games or something this
37,
year.
so. Started about
37
out of 67.
Less than half.
Yeah, less than half.
So I think he still qualifies.
And those were like injury stuff. So.
Exactly, and like he's kind of played that bench spark role for a lot of the year. And the only reason, like, he's kind of started towards the end, but 6 man of the year they're always fringe starters anyway. Malik Monk could have been a starter last year, like, or whenever he won it. So I feel pretty happy putting Keyshawn there. He's had a really good rookie year. His defense has been great. His offense, I mean, he's hitting the threes, exactly what we need him to do. And more than that, he just looks super comfortable out there. He can kind of take care of himself a lot more than a lot of these, a lot of people may have expected him to, I think. And, you know, he's a productive NBA player.
Yeah, for being a late pick, he's kind of exactly. I think this is a huge hit for Dawkins and them.
I think so too.
Over in the front office. I had a guy who's obviously not with the Wizards anymore, as Aidan said. But I put Jonas Valanciunas just for the first half of the season that he had with the Wizards. I mean, this guy's like the backup big man that pretty much every team wants. And even in Sacramento, he's been phenomenal. So,
yeah, he's been great.
You know, for the Wizards, I think he really helped Sar kind of come into his own as a mentor, and also just being that big body that he was very consistent, like double machine, average 11 points, 8 rebounds, and also got the Wizards value at the trade deadline and has been great for Sacramento. So he's back in the play-in. I'll be rooting for them in the Kings over Dallas. Actually,
me too.
Will I be? I don't know. I'm kind of hoping Dallas makes the playoffs so they don't get in the lottery.
Well, we want Memphis to make the playoffs.
Yeah, we need Memphis to make the playoffs because we have Memphis's pick. But
yes.
Yeah, I have Big Val. I think he's been great.
I like that pick. I think consistency is one of the traits that I value the most out of NBA players, especially role players, because if you know exactly what your teammate's going to do and what they can provide, then it simplifies the game a lot more. Where you don't have to worry about, oh, do I want to pass here because I'm not sure if he can do this. You're like, okay, it's Valanciunas.
Exactly.
Here. He's a
failsafe. You could give it to him down low, and I mean, I'm not going to say he's automatic because that'd be kind of glazing, but he's pretty consistent. He's pretty consistent down in the post, and he's just a guy where, like, and for the Kings too. I guess less so for the Kings because him and Sabonis do play a little similarly, but for the Wizards, he was a guy where it basically completely shifted how they played offense when he was on the floor versus Sar. So it was an interesting mix-up. Obviously, not so much with the Kings because him and Sabonis are similar in a way, play style-wise. Obviously, Sabonis much better, but
I think it's important too that he allowed Sar to not have to immediately be thrown in at center. At the beginning of the year, and let him kind of get used to the NBA and gain some weight, and then halfway through he can transition to full-time center.
Exactly.
So he was kind of exactly what we needed. We got exactly what I wanted out of him. Pretty good.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season when he signed with the Wizards, we pretty much said like he's gonna be a great backup, and we're gonna trade him at the deadline for some value. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what happened.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Clutch player of the year. Is that what you had next?
Oh, no, that's you. Go ahead.
Okay, there was only one option for this, mainly because there wasn't a lot of clutch plays during the season.
Yep.
But Jordan Poole, and really I put him down entirely for the Denver game winner. Being here in person. Again, not a lot of clutch plays for the Wizards over the course of the season, but Jordan Poole is always not going to hesitate to take those clutch shots. Obviously, not like the best clutch player this year, but he's my pick.
I think Bub has been pretty good in the clutch, I think. But Poole's just like, he's the guy who's gotten the most clutch reps, so you kind of got to give it to him. I feel like you have to give it to the guy who they're looking to give it to at the end of the game, and that's Poole. So
exactly. And this is kind of like a whatever award anyway.
Yeah. This and Rookie of the Year. I mean, not Rookie of the Year. MIP kind of felt like, okay, there's like one guy to give it to.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with moving on to Acquisition of the Year, which for me was pretty clearly AJ Johnson. I like Smart. I like Middleton and what they provide for this team, especially as a vet presence and teaching kind of team defense to the young guys. But AJ Johnson has been way more than I expected. I thought he would play a lot just because we don't have a ton of people to play, but we've gotten really, really meaningful, productive minutes out of him. He looks really poised. He's aggressive. I think he has a bright future in the NBA, maybe as just an okay role player, but if he turns out to be just an okay role player, that's great value, getting him in Middleton for Kuzma.
Yeah.
So I think there were a lot of options this year. We were very active at the trade deadline, which was great. But AJ Johnson has kind of been the diamond in the rough for the whole season for me. So I've been really happy with him.
Yeah, I did the same way. It was between him and Smart for me, because Smart obviously, I'm not going to say changed the culture in the second half, but he was a contributing factor for the Wizards playing much harder in the second half of the season. And I hope he comes back next year. I'm not sure what his contract situation is. I'm assuming he'll be back next year.
I think he has a team option, or a player option. I think him and Middleton both have player options that, like,
they're going to take,
Smart's making 20, Middleton's making 30.
Yeah, they're not
leaving that on the table.
But I also did AJ Johnson as well. Yeah, nice. I would be happy to have him too. Just because it was almost like an unexpected bright spot, like kind of a fleecing, honestly, to get him at all. But just he's coming in his first game, he dunks on someone, and he's had a couple of highlight plays like throughout the whole time, the rest of the season on the Wizards. So 9 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. Obviously not the best shooting splits, but rookie guards never have good shooting splits. He's my acquisition of the year. For DPOY, I had 2 options. It was Sar or Koulibaly, and I went with Sar just for the rim presence. I was close to doing Koulibaly. If he didn't get injured and played more, I probably would have gone him, but I'm going with Sar for the rim presence and just his switchability on the perimeter for being 19.
I think overall Bilal has been more consistently a better defender. He just hasn't played as much as Sar has. So I gave it to Sar as well. Sar's perimeter defense switchability is great. His help defense is amazing. His interior defense needs some work. That's something where I actually think Bilal might be better than him. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But Bilal has a better control of his weight under the basket, so I think he has a easier job kind of like keeping people away from there.
And he doesn't have to guard
obviously
the
has
Embiid.
the flashy blocks, and he does exactly. The people he's guarding.
I guess the
really different.
Embiid is not a good comparison for this year.
No,
but you know
nobody's
what I mean.
guarding Embiid.
Nobody's guarding Embiid this year.
But yeah, I'm happy to give it to Sar. He's been great defensively. It's what we expected out of him. It's what I hoped, pretty much. So, only thing is he needs to put on like 30 more pounds.
Yeah, what's his weight right now?
Over the next couple years. He's
205.
Yeah.
For
he
being
came in at like 190, 180, so.
Yeah, for being a
Put him on a
full
little more would
foot
be
taller than me, the weight difference is not that much.
No.
It's like 40 pounds or something, 30 pounds.
Yeah, he's like 40 pounds heavier than I am.
So.
Which is like, that's significant, but he's also
7 foot, yeah.
And a half taller than me. I'm 5'10", 5'11". He's 7'3".
He's 7.
7'2".
He's just 7.
Oh, he's 7. Oh, I thought he was taller. I don't know why. Still, much taller. So, love to see him put on some more muscle, be able to bang down low with the best of them. But we'll see.
Yeah. But now let's go into league-wide. So we're done with the Wizards. The Wizards, not much controversy. I mean, maybe you had a controversy. Let us know. But league-wide, there probably will be some. We kind of agree on a lot of this stuff just because we talk about it constantly. But we might have some differences in opinions.
I know we have
here.
some differences for sure.
So,
but they're very minute, so we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, it might be very similar here. So what we did was we basically acted like we had a vote. So for MVP we gave our top 5 in order, DPOY top 3, the rest of them top 3.
Yeah.
I added some like this guy maybe could be in the conversation for some of them, but not all of them. So for MVP, I guess I'll start with the guy that didn't make it that I think could be in my top 5, which was Anthony Edwards. Mm-hmm. He's a very close 6 to what would be in my top 5, and really the difference with him with these other guys that are there is team success. I think if the Timberwolves were better, he'd be there. Which, this isn't going to make much sense when I then say my number 1, but it's Nikola Jokic. I know it's been a very conversation between Nikola Jokic and SGA. I mean, he averaged a triple-double. I don't really... I mean, the stats he's putting up, and these might not even be... He might even be better since I last looked at the stats. But right now he's averaging 30 points a game. I'm rounding up. 13 rebounds, 10 assists, 57%. 41% from 3. And 80. He's almost 50-49er. He's 50-40-80. Yep. And, I mean, he clinched the triple-double. He's the best player in the world for me. Obviously, that doesn't always attribute to MVP in the NBA, but for me, I think it should. So Jokic is my number 1, and then SGA is my number 2. They've been 1 and 2 all year. I don't think that changes. 32 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 51%, 52%, 37%, and almost 90% from the line. Best player on the best team, obviously, is always going to be up there in MVP voting. Giannis is my 3rd. I'm a huge Giannis fan. I think he actually gets a little overlooked in these conversations a lot. But I kind of get it because the Bucks weren't as good this year. I think if the Bucks have a better year, he's more in the top 2. There he is now. And then for my 4, I have Jason Tatum. Again, we're looking like best player on one of the best teams. And also Tatum has some great stats. And then for my 5th, I went with Evan Mobley just for his defensive impact on what is, again, one of the best teams in the league in Cleveland. So that's my top 5 in order. Jokic is my MVP.
Mine's pretty similar. I have Jokic at MVP, of course. Big Denver guy over here. But it's also a little different because he just became the 3rd player to average a triple-double for the season, first center ever. And the things he's doing, like you mentioned, his 41% three-point shooting, that's on 5 attempts a game, his highest ever on both accounts. And it's just like he's transforming his game to be anything that Denver needs him to be at any moment. If you need a shooter, he's like, I don't have enough shooters. I just need to be a shooter. It's like, I don't have... He's been more active on defense lately. He's not a great defender, but I don't think the gap is as large as people like to make it out to be. Just because SJ he is a good defender, but he's always going to look better with that team defense around him.
Yeah.
Where
SJ would probably make
doesn't have
first
that
team all
luxury.
defense, I would think.
I would agree, yeah. And I don't want to downplay what Shea is doing at all this season. He's having a historic season for a guard, up there with some of the Michael Jordan seasons. It's just, to me, this is like a Wilt Chamberlain season. It's just like unfortunate that we're having such two, like we say this every year. There's always, the runner-up always has amazing seasons. Luka had an amazing season last year. And I get it feels kind of hypocritical.
And Shea had an amazing season last year.
Shea did have an amazing season last year. But I understand why people are kind of annoyed by the Jokic talk, because he's a 5 or 4 seed, whatever he is, and it's like that was the big reasoning for some of his early MVPs, was like, oh well, team success is the tiebreaker, and a lot of people think it's super close, where to me it's like Jokic has Shea in every category but points pretty much. So it's like it's tough to argue. Like, we're seeing stuff, I don't know if a player's ever had 5 top 3 like categorical seasons or whatever. Like he's doing really insane things that we haven't seen in a long time.
I wonder if
in
Westbrook
an era where it's harder to do. I don't think so, because he's like top 5 I think in 4. I think he's top 3 in points. I think he's top 2 in both rebounds and assists. He's top 2 in steals because of Dyson Daniels being a freak of nature.
Yeah. We'll get this to when we get DPOY, but Dyson Daniels' steal stats are insane.
It's insane. It's really, really, really crazy. I will definitely be talking about Dyson Daniels later. But just going down, my third is Giannis, of course. I agree with you. He would be higher for me if his team was better, which is funny because Jokic's team is worse than Shea's team. But if you look at the stats, Jokic's team is literally the worst at everything when he's not on the court and the best at everything when he's on the court. So it's a little different there. He elevates his teammates in a way I just haven't seen before from anyone else besides like LeBron, really. My fourth is Tatum. He's having a great season on the Celtics. It's kind of going under the radar because everyone knows the Celtics are good and that Tatum is good. But he's kept them afloat all year with like weird Porzingis injuries and like kind of coasting.
You mean that weird Porzingis illness? The mysterious illness? Yeah,
the illness they've never seen before, apparently. But he's always consistent, and I always like to reward Tatum because he does try to play every single game he can, even against the advice of his team, which I think is admirable, and not a lot of players really prioritize that anymore. And my last, it's kind of weird, same reasoning for you and Mobley. I'm giving a joint award to Mitchell and Garland for the runner-up, just because they're both kind of sharing the number 1 offensive duties on the best team in the league. Or in the East, sorry, not the best team in the league. And I like what Mobley's doing, but I feel like I like MVP being more of an offensive award, which is kind of weird because it's not really specifically that.
But it is.
I feel like it is. I mean, offense is more valuable than defense. That you have to have good offense to win. Yeah. You don't have to have amazing defense to win.
Yeah, unfortunately, that helps.
Yeah, and it's 5th place. It doesn't really matter. I didn't really have anyone else that was doing super well this year. I like Anthony Edwards to go up there, but like you said, it's hard to justify it when the team's in the play, and I wanted to give a nod to Cleveland just because they've been having such an amazing season.
Yeah. Right, there's our MVPs. Do you want to do DPOY first, or should I?
I'll move into DPOY. I don't think this is controversial at all. I want to give it to Evan Mobley, anchoring one of, if not the best defense.
I think it's the number 9
the whole
defense
year.
By rating.
Number 9, really? Well,
let me double check.
And he's the one that's really putting in a lot of. It's him and Jared Allen that are leading the defense for sure, and it's like, what is Mobley now? 23, 24? For a young guy to be shouldering the defensive load like that, it's not something you often see. I have Dyson Daniels second. I think Dyson Daniels first is very justifiable with the season he's been having. I just think that Mobley he's been kind of doing everything for the Cavs, being everywhere. He's covering everybody. His help defense is great. So I definitely think he deserves it. And I do have Draymond third for all the annoyance I get by him campaigning for it and saying he should be DPOY and then making the media do that. It's the fucking stupidest thing ever. he has been great to end the season on defense. He has been holding the Warriors together. They're making a big pivotal playoff push right now, and he's just as important to their defense as he was in 2015. So I definitely want to have him up there, but I think he's the guy that if I was going to leave anyone off, I think I could justify leaving Draymond off, but I wanted to give him a bit of a nod.
Yeah, that makes sense. We have pretty similar ballots here. I want to, my DPOI is Evan Mobley, but before I talk about that, I want to talk about Dyson Daniels, because he has 229 steals this year, which is about 3 a game. Second place is Shea with 131. So he nearly has an 100 steal difference between him and second place, which is nasty. I also want to give a shout out to
block difference.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to give a shout out to Wemby, who's still leading the league in blocks despite not playing the second half of the season, and by like a good margin.
If he was healthy, for sure.
Yeah, easily. I don't think that'd be anyone's. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna switch Mobley and Dyson Daniels. I'm gonna put Dyson Daniels as the defensive player of the year, just because he is literally the lockdown defender of all lockdown defenders. And I don't know, maybe I'm glazing Dyson Daniels a little because I have up here for another award too, but in my opinion, he's been the best defensive player in the league, and he's been the best defensive player for the past like couple seasons, or not for the past, but like that we've seen this season in the past couple seasons. If that makes sense. And I think if Marcus Smart can win as a guard, Dyson Daniels can win as well. The only thing, and the really big thing that is hurting Dyson Daniels, is that the Hawks are just not a good team.
Yes.
And I mean, they're 19th in defensive rating, but I'm going to be honest, without Dyson, I think they'd be closer to the Jazz than they are to 14. So I think it's kind of a weird thing there. And I switched this last second. Evan Mobley, I'll put second. And then Ivica Zubac, I have third. People don't really talk about the jump Zubac has made this year. He's anchoring the third best defense in the league on the Clippers, and a Clippers team that, I mean, I guess people say this every year for the Clippers, but actually might make a playoff run with Harden and Kawhi. So
everyone since 2019. Yeah,
for real, it's been the same thing every year. But I think Zubac's growth has been kind of, again, under the radar in LA. I think he's been one of the biggest reasons why they continue to be very good even without Paul George. And then for some other players, I put Draymond also, and then I put Amen Thompson. I think what he's doing as well.
Amen's been having a great year.
It's been fantastic. But Dyson Daniels will be my DPOY. For Rookie of the Year, I will be a little biased. I put Alex Sarr. We talked about Rookie of the Year in the last video, so you can look at that. And then I have Castle second and Ricochet third, which is pretty standard, I would say, for the top three. And then I have Jalen Wells fourth. Not that we get a fourth vote, but shout out Jalen Wells. Took a hard fall in the game a couple days ago.
Yeah, I saw that he ended up being decent, like not okay. He's gonna obviously not play the end of the season, but he had like a broken arm, concussion, and like a fracture in his face or something, which was like minor. So it could have been way worse. Could have ended his career legitimately. Yeah,
he could have died.
And I do want to shout out KJ Simpson, was it, that ran into him?
Yeah.
For being a real class act. He was apologizing to him. You could tell it wasn't purposeful. He was apologizing to him when it happened. He went on Twitter, apologized to him and his family. Apparently they're close off the court, so it's he's handled it really well at a time where a lot of players tend to not really do that for some reason. When they injure people, it's like a lot of like, oh, justifying, and like I'm calling out mostly Draymond here, just like victim blaming and stuff. So it's refreshing to see someone take the high road and be like, hey, I messed up. This was not my intention, but it happened, so I just want to own up to it. Really, really cool to see. And I do also want to give this pain means to do. I always hate to do this for Philly players, but I do want to give a big shout out to Jared McCain for the year he was having before he unfortunately went down early. I think he would have probably won this award if he was healthy all season. So, you know, excited to see what comes out of him. I think even if Embiid and Paul George, if they can't figure out what to do with them, they have at least a bright future with Maxey and McCain, as much as that pains me to say. But they could be really getting flagged. We'll see. Hopefully not. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully not, but we'll see. moving on to most improved player.
Wait, what is your rookie of the year list?
The same as yours.
Oh, yeah, sorry,
Castle, Ricochet. Yeah, I feel like that's not super controversial. Controversial part is Sar over Castle, and we had a whole episode about that.
And that's also because we're Wizards fans, I'm going to be honest.
And also because we're Wizards fans. But also, like, I've been convinced, I've been seeing people, like, Sar is one of 5 players to record 100 blocks in a season, or 5 rookies to record 100 blocks in a season, and he's, like, the 3rd rookie to have a combination of threes and blocks, joining Wemby and stuff. So he's been, like, the combination of offense and defense is unique to me. Plus, Castle has statistically had a good season, but not the best rookie season in the year, I think. Like, I think there's arguments even for Sar just off statistics. But the eye test is definitely there for Castle. I don't want to disrespect Castle at all. Like,
he's going to be an all-star. He's going to be an all-star.
He's going to be an all-star for sure. I just think that Sar also is going to be an all-star, and a better one. But we'll see. But moving on to MIP, I don't think this is going to be controversial at all. I've got Dyson Daniels to top it off. He's had good seasons before, but he's elevated his game, especially defensively, in a way that we haven't seen from him before. And I think the greatest level of improvement we've seen in the league easily. Cade Cunningham, he's having a great season. It's not that much better than last year. He was good last year too, guys. He's just good this year. And I always hate to give it to the number 1 picks. You know, I've talked about this a lot on this channel, my gripes with the award in general. So I'd love to see Dyson Daniels get it. I think he has a real chance to make the push over Cade late in the season. I also wanted to put Quinn
late in the season, 1 game.
He's had a great performance post-trade, and it's kind of been a weird season. I feel like there haven't been a ton of MIP candidates where there's people who are clear-cut, like maybe a man I could see, but he was also a top pick, so I hate giving it to the top picks. And I also do want to shout out Austin Reeves. I've been a bit of an Austin Reeves hater in the past, but he's definitely proved me wrong. Has the potential to be a top 3 option on a championship team, I definitely believe. I don't know about 1 or 2, but 3 for sure, and that's all they need out of him. And he's in moments where they haven't had the stars, he's really stepped up and impressed me with his poise and maturity as such a young player. And he's an undrafted player. It is a little weird because he could have gone to Detroit if he wanted, but he declined. And I do want to say, for everyone saying he's the best undrafted player since Rasheed Wallace or whatever, put some respect on Freddie VanVleet. That's a champion right there, and an all-star.
Fred VanVleet is definitely one of the best undrafted players ever.
He's the best. You can say he's the best since Freddie VanVleet. I'll give you that. But you can't disrespect.
And there's still people hating on Fred VanVleet, man.
There's still people hating. This is the man you're hating on? His wife and 2 kids? Come on. But yeah, I think we probably have pretty similar MIPs, so I don't think it'll be too different.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm a huge Dyson Daniels fan. I'll pull up the stats from him last year to this year, and of course, he only played 22 minutes in New Orleans last year, up to 33 this year, but I mean, that always happens with MIP, so it's not that crazy. But 5.8 points last year, 1.4 steals. That's the big numbers, 31% from 3. This year, he's up to 14 points, 3 steals on 34% from 3. So not a huge 3-point jump, but it went from, I don't think this guy's ever going to shoot, to, okay, he could be an average shooter, which for Dyson Daniels is a pretty big improvement. But, I mean, like I said, I think he's having one of the best guard defensive seasons in a long time, and it's just not talked about because the Hawks defense is so bad. But he'll still win my MIP. I have Christian Brown second, stepping into that starting role for Denver. Not many people thought they could replace KCP. Christian Brown has been incredible, including me. I didn't think that he would step in and replace KCP as well as he did. I believe he's averaging 15 points.
He's going crazy.
I am correct. Yeah, 15.5 on almost 40% from 3, which is amazing. And then I put Quentin Grimes third as well. Quentin Grimes, by the way, you sent me this earlier, is an 86 overall in NBA 2K, which is disgusting stuff. Like, I'm sorry. The inflation has gone way too far that Quentin Grimes is an 86.
86 used to be like Paul George in 2K15, where like he's great, but he's not the top echelon of superstars. Like if you were above 90, you were like a superstar.
And there weren't many people above 90. It was like LeBron.
There were
I don't
like
even think
8
Steph
dudes.
is above 90 in 2K15.
He's like an 89.
Yeah. It was like LeBron and KD, and like those were the two guys.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But anyway, we could have a whole video eventually ranting about how bad 2K is, but that's for another time. Sixth man of the year. Is it my turn to go first? I believe it is.
Yeah.
So, I feel like they were actually a good. Oh, before I talk about that, Franz Wagner probably would have won MIP, I believe, if he didn't miss a bunch of time. So I want to shout out Franz. He was just missing the cutoff by what is going to be 4 games.
He's also had kind of he had the hot start and cooled off towards the end, which is not conducive towards winning MIP, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I do think he deserves to be in the running if he fit that criteria for sure.
Absolutely. Sixth man of the year. There was a lot of options. I feel like there was a lot of good bench players this year.
There were.
I went with Malik Beasley. Just the turnaround the Pistons have. I mean, he's averaging 16 points off the bench, and I know Malik.
There's
Beasley,
arguments to be made that he's the second best player on the team right now.
Exactly. Yeah. He's playing in every single game this season, which is another big thing. He upped his points from. Oh, also Norm Powell, by the way, MIP, another guy who probably would have gotten in there if it wasn't for his injury.
True.
But Malik Beasley, 16 points off the bench on a very, very good Pistons team, the best Pistons team in a decade, deserves a sixth man for me. Second, I had Peyton Pritchard, again doing great things on the Celtics, and then third, I had Ty Jerome, who another kind of breakout candidate this season.
Very fair. I had Pritchard first, sixth man of the year. What he's been doing anchoring the Celtics has been really good for them. And there's a lot of sixth man of the year candidates, but there's no standout candidate, which makes it interesting to me. I have Beasley second. For the same reasons you do. He's really brought the Pistons back from a horrendous season last season. He's they made like 3 roster moves that really impacted them. I think he's one of the biggest. His contract is amazing. He's shooting some of the best numbers he's shot in his career.
Was he in the 3-point contest? I don't think so.
I don't think so. No, because this was more like later. Like he's been consistent all season, but he really picked it up towards the end.
Yeah.
But Pritchard to me is just really giving the Celtics exactly what they need off the bench, and there have been games where he won that for the Celtics by himself. And he and Derek White currently are combined for the highest points in Celtics history. Highest point per game record. Wait, no, sorry. Highest points in one game.
Oh, okay.
For 2 players. They had like 89 points or something fucking insane together this season. So he's really been consistently good for them and stepping into a role where I wasn't sure that he could ever get to this point. And there was a point where he even asked out because he didn't think he was going to be able to get playtime because he wasn't going to be as good. And now he's like anchoring this championship bench. Really cool to see. And then I have Ty Jerome third. Lead bench guy for best team in the East. That's had a really good bench the whole year. Kind of facilitating the offense when the stars aren't there. Really been doing a great job.
Yeah, fantastic. We got
the clutch player of the year
awards left. Yeah.
Yes, we've got 3. This one is kind of tough for me. I have Jalen Brunson first, but it's close to me. I have Brunson first, Jokic second, which I'm not sure if many people are thinking about Jokic for this award, but statistically, he is the best player in clutch time in the league this year, and has single-handedly won games for the Nuggets with like 5 or 6 like straight points to finish it out. And we almost saw that happen in Denver. He almost did that to the Wizards in overtime.
Yeah.
So it was close for me, but I think Brunson edges it a little bit for me. He has Cat there to take off some of the load, but when it gets in the clutch, it's always Brunson. You give it to Brunson, he's going to shoot it. And the Knicks have been pretty good this year. They've been since I made the list, they've been kind of on a free fall. Not really a free fall, but they can't beat the Celtics. They can't beat any of the good teams. But Brunson in the clutch is not the issue there. They have other problems. And then to end it out, I have Trae Young. I feel like Trae Young always kind of rounds out this award. He's always good in the clutch. And the thing which I guess all 3 of these players do that kind of sets them apart is their ability to not only be the player that takes the bucket in the clutch, but we've seen Brunson, Jokic, and Trey all defer to teammates for better shots. And there's a lot of players in the league that can do that, but those three, their passing ability is kind of, in for sure the high tier of the top tier of passing in the league. So just the ability to kind of all of them take over completely in the clutch and lead their team to a win in more ways than just taking the shot, I think really stands out here.
I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, our lists are pretty similar. I'm going to be honest, I looked at who's scoring the most in 5 minutes left in the clutch game in the fourth, and that was Jalen Brunson, so I'm going to give the award to him. Jokic second, again, he's been super clutch. And then third, I put DeMar DeRozan. I know the Kings aren't very good, but DeRozan continues to constantly be one of the clutchest players in the league. And I think just due to his shot diet, he can pretty much score whenever he touches the ball. It's kind of a shame we don't see him on better teams. I know he's to blame for that, but he's been he's going to be one of these guys. What'd you say?
I said that's how I feel about Trey too. I can't get the team around them.
And he's going to be one of these guys that is kind of lost in history. But when people hear him, they're going to be like, oh yeah, that guy was good.
I think Embiid's going to be that too. It's interesting because he's an MVP.
The MVP will put him over the top. DeRozan, it's
he's going to be like a trivia, who's the only MVP to never make the conference final. Be like, shit. And all the old heads would be like, that's Joel Embiid.
Yeah. Coach of the year, I put Kenny Atkinson. Again, Cleveland. I mean, this award's always just which team is better than expectations, right?
And what coach didn't win last year.
Yeah, pretty much. So I put Kenny Atkinson. Just the way he changed the Cavs culture and this team from... not that they were bad last year, they were a 4 seed, but to being the best team in the East by a good amount, gave him the award. Ime Udoka I put second, again, Rockets jump, and then Mark Daigneault for the Thunder I put third. And then shout out JB Bickerstaff in Detroit, but he is not making my list.
I wanted to shout JB Bickerstaff out too. He's had a great year. My list is pretty similar. Atkinson, Daigneault, Udoka. Hate to put Udoka up there just because his conduct in the past, let's just say. Yeah. But he's really turned around this Rockets team, and I think they're playing better than their skill level might suggest, I want to say, and that's not to disrespect them at all. They've been playing great, but I think that's in large part due they've been very prepared for pretty much every game. They have such a versatile roster that kind of Udoka can tweak around who's in at certain times and go big, go small, and really get a lot of options. So I think they're together a sum greater than the what's the saying? They're greater than the equal of their parts or whatever.
Greater than the sum of their parts or whatever.
Yeah, greater than the sum of their parts, I would say. So I think that a lot of the time that is due to coaching. So I definitely want to give him the nod. And he, brought this up. He was a great coach for the Celtics. He knows what he's doing. And last one, executive of the year. I feel like you can't give it to anyone but Rob Pelinka.
This is the only reason why I put this award in here for us to talk about is because.
And I've got a special second half of this award, worst executive of all time, not just of the year. I'm giving that to Nico Harrison for his performance this year.
Worst executive of all time. I mean, this is literally going to be one of the worst trades in NBA history.
It already is. I think it already is the worst trade, and it hasn't even aged half a season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that yet because the Nets Celtics trade was very bad. But, I mean, he just gifted a generational talent to LA for free. And Rob Pelinka, I mean, he played him like a fiddle. I don't know.
And we're recording this soon after Luka's return to Dallas. And that's what elevates this trade to not just an awful franchise debilitating trade, but the worst trade of all time already is the emotional context. Yeah. Where, you're watching him cry, him watching himself fucking in a Mavs jersey, and it's he never wanted to leave the Mavs. He was going to be maybe the best player to ever play in the Mavs uniform and a Mavs lifer all in one. He loved Dallas. He was super happy, even though they couldn't put a roster around him. If anything, he could have asked out, and I would have seen it more than them trading him. And the whole city is people. There were multiple people interviewed that were yeah, I'm wearing a Lakers jersey because of Luka. I'm a Lakers fan now. I live in Dallas. I've been a Dallas fan my whole life. Like, they're estimated to lose 9 figures heading into next season, due to loss of ticket revenue, due to loss of merchandise, due to loss of endorsements, due to basically just completely fumbling the franchise. And I feel very AD. I have a feeling AD might not be there long term. He is kind of getting the short end of the stick from the fan base. They don't blame him for it, but it's hard not to feel a certain way about the guy who came to replace your franchise favorite guy. You know, like, even if you know it's not his fault, you're always going to feel a little bit of a resentment, I feel like. And that's just like, maybe not personally, but the crowd. And maybe they're not, but you kind of have to feel that way if you're AD, watching everyone cry and feel sorry about trading Luka, and you're the guy they traded for, and you're like, this is the worst trade of all time. It's like, do I really want to be here? And seeing the way they treated their franchise guy.
It's tough, yeah. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen in the history of the NBA a player that is consistently all NBA first team, consistently in the MVP conversation, get traded without asking out. I don't think that's ever happened.
Did Wilt get traded? I think Wilt just left in free agency.
I don't think it ever happened in the history
I
of
don't
the
think
NBA.
there's anything.
Someone fact check me on that. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to claim it. But
there you go.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Everyone else either left willingly or asked out.
And also, what makes the trade so much worse to me is not just AD, because if they get AD, they get Austin Reeves, and Max Christie and a couple picks. Okay, I don't love it. I can see it. It was what,
Max Christie, one first
pick, and the Mavs gave up a second. What the fuck? Why are you doing this? That's like nothing. They couldn't even get Connect. They asked for Connect, and Rob Pelinka was like, I don't really think he's worth it. He was like, okay.
Yeah, Connect's not getting minutes, by the way, on the Lakers anymore.
No, he's not. He's fine. He'll probably be good. But we talked about this a lot in the episode, so I'll keep it a little short. Just, it's eternally baffling to me that they didn't open it up to the rest of the league and create the biggest bidding war we've ever seen in the history of the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, even just to get more leverage over LA, if you were just going to even if you were going to trade him for AD eventually, like, make them pay a little more, get some leverage back, instead of just handing him to them for free, basically.
Yeah, just a complete fumble. And yeah, that's all I can say. Poor AD, man. I agree with you. I don't think he's gonna be with Dallas for a super, super long time, even though they will throw him. Actually, no, I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna say they're gonna throw him a complete overpay, and he's gonna stay with Dallas.
They're just gonna give him a max. I'm curious.
And again, giving a max to an injury-prone big man who is 32 is, not the greatest idea in the world, but you do.
So, do you think there's any chance Luka leaves in free agency? He's not getting paid any more there than anywhere else.
Yeah, I think there's always a chance when a guy isn't under supermax. I'm trying to think of what teams might have cap space. You'll have Brooklyn, obviously. Some other teams, I'm sure. I think the odds are pretty low.
Welcome to
the
Denver.
Lakers. I don't think he's going there. I don't think they have any money.
No, but if they make some salary dump trades or some shit, I think they can get there.
Nah, you sent me that tweet. Michael Porter is untouchable.
No, that's crazy. But they can trade Murray. Murray makes basically the same. He makes a supermax. Good. But I don't think
highly
it's
doubt
likely
it.
either. I think he probably stays.
We could talk about more when that.
I hope he doesn't.
Well.
I hate the Lakers. We know that.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm super interested in watching their playoff games this year.
Yeah.
Against. I guess it's not clear yet. It's only the East has been solved. We'll be back, I believe, after the play-in to do our playoff predictions. I don't really like doing play-in predictions because again, it's one game, and also like if you you try to predict the playoffs with the play-in and then get the play-in wrong, it's like, okay, this is a completely different matchup. So what are we doing?
All right, I'll do my 4-word predictions for anyone that wants to know. Magic, Hawks, Timberwolves, Grizzlies. There you go.
Yeah, there it is. I don't know the standings on some of it, but I'm sure it's probably one.
I just picked the 7 and 8 seeds out of each conference. I don't really care about the play-in this year. It's like more than any other year, they're going to get eviscerated in the first round.
Should be fun though.
If
Maybe
Minnesota's still in
the
there,
Rockets.
maybe they could beat the Rockets. Yeah. We'll see.
But yeah,
I
the
think-
Hawks will do their classic: take one game off the 1 seed and then lose.
Yep.
It's pretty normal. Pretty normal stuff for them. But yeah,
if the Cavs collapse at the first round of the Hawks, they're in major trouble.
Sixers vibes.
Everyone's getting traded.
Big Sixers vibes. All right, that's it. Do you have anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, Gafford, take us out.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy DG. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Nothing major. We hitting the wizard bed tonight, baby. Let's get it, Gafford out.